Pokemon Day is just a few weeks away, and we've got a ton of riddles, rumors, and potential leaks for the DLC. Let's take a look. All right, so y'all already know we love ourselves some SoulSilver art, and they put out a really good thread yesterday, and there's a few things we're gonna talk about, some really cool concepts, some potential leaks, rumors, everything you need to know about Scarlet and Violet going on right now. So if you guys didn't see, RiddlerKhus put out some kind of different tweets recently, hinting at different types of the Paradox forms and maybe a riddle for the DLC. But if you actually go back to October, there's a handful of tweets that might be relevant for us getting some information as to what the types of these legendary Pokemon could be. Now, if you don't know, there's three particular things we're talking about here, right? The first one being kind of the third legendary of Paldea, which is going to most likely tie into the terrassylation mechanic, right? You've got the little eyeballs kind of on the terrestrial hats, and we're believing that that has some sort of a tie into a legendary. We've thought maybe Zygarde, maybe some sort of connection to Kalos, maybe something to do with like a world turtle or something like that. We have this kind of giant egg type thing that exists in the Scarlet and Violet books, and we have a little bit of information based off of that. And then you've got the Paradox Suicune, and then you've got like the Paradox Virizion, right? So like the Suicune that kind of looks like Entei, and then this Virizion that obviously has kind of some resemblance to the other of the like the little, you know, Justice Trio. So anyway, SoulSilver says, want to know PS type. If you've been paying attention, you already know that the answer has been known for months, but I'm happy someone finally solved the riddle. Let's understand. And then we kind of look at this riddle, and this goes back to October. It says, want to know PS type. It's not depth. And then he goes, if you solve, you know. And then he goes, not height, in response to Toxic Salandit. So this actually, Serena actually responds on this and says that it's from a famous poem from Lu Shi Ming, saying the first line of the poem says, it matters not the height. If a fairy or saint or legend lives in a mountain, it becomes famous. It's possible that that part of the riddle or the poem actually refers to Virizion, but more importantly and more likely, the second part of the poem is what refers to Suicune, saying it matters not the depth. If the dragon lives in a body of water, it becomes magical. So Serena actually indicated, if I'm not mistaken, that this is like a poem that they learned in school. Like this is a pretty significant Chinese poem, I guess, and RiddlerKhus. It would make sense for them to create a riddle based off of something like this, right? Especially if it's prominent in kind of their education or their culture or whatever it may be. I mean, I remember reading poems from like Langston Hughes and stuff as a kid, right? Fun fact, at one point in my college career, I was actually taking a bunch of poetry classes and considering being a poet. Luckily, I decided to do YouTube instead. But jokes aside, that was actually a serious comment. This could be leading to the idea that Suicune could be a dragon. Now, SoulSilver continues to point out another post from RiddlerKhus around that time at the end of October saying what shape is for PS, and I think this is related to Paradox Suicune, which now we're thinking could actually be dragon typing, which is a bit of a curveball, right? And you've got these different shapes here, and I'm wondering if it's actually gonna be the top right shape. I'm wondering if it's going to have wings and it's gonna actually be more dragon-like or draconic. That could be very, very interesting and a twist that we maybe didn't expect when it comes to kind of this whole saga with the new Paradox forms. Now, SoulSilver takes it a step further back in October saying, what are Suicune's origin? Is it a dog, leopard, cheetah, or Kirin? Can any of these designs inspirations translates into types? So a Kirin is actually very interesting here, and this kind of page on Google from PokemonGoHub.net is indicating that they believe that Suicune is based on a Kirin. I know a lot of people reference the legendary dogs, but they're more like cats, really, right? Like Raikou is kind of like a Smilodon, so they more so fall into like the tiger, leopard, Smilodon, that kind of category rather than dogs. I don't know why they're called dogs. Sometimes they're called the legendary beast, but a Kirin is very, very interesting here, and it's possible that that could also kind of lean into this dragon kind of idea, right? So just something to be mindful of. I'm not saying like we totally cracked the code here by any means, but it's very possible that this new Paradox Suicune form could be dragon, which I think would be very interesting, and it remains to be seen whether the rest of the poem is actually pointing to Virizion or not. Now, Khus goes on to say, back in October again, PS and PV, which we're thinking are the Paradox Scarlet and Violet, specifically being the Suicune and the Virizion, says need to serve their monarch. Is he/she also a P or being a T, which you will know about in the next year? I don't know. I don't know what to make of this, right? I think that they're saying that these two Pokemon may, or, depending on your version, may be kind of like the main Pokemon of this particular person, or this particular Pokemon that's controlling them or something like that, right? Like we've got this potential third legendary. We know that there's a tie-in with the Terrastal mechanic. There's some sort of connection here that I do think we're going to start to get some answers in the next couple weeks, as Pokemon Day is at the end of this month, guys. Like, it is so soon. And that actually brings us to our next thing. Elite Robo made some really cool concepts. I thought this was neat. They posted on Twitter a couple weeks back, actually, Depths of Null and Vibrant Heights. So I actually saw that T-Tar had covered this. I thought it was really cool. But these are fan-made ideas, right? Like, but it certainly brings the idea forward. Just like we had Isle of Armor and we had Crown Tundra, I really thought this was kind of cool. Talking about the Depths of Null, right? So again, fan-made, so just keep that in mind. A few months after the main story ends, an earthquake hits Paldea. This in turn causes a sizable amount of ancient and futuristic Pokemon to be spotted across Paldea. You, Nimona, and Gita and the members of Elite Four travel back to Area Zero with plenty of new paradoxes to be seen. As you reach the depths of the Zero Lab, you uncover a new set of caves that was hidden right beneath it. What mysteries await, and more importantly, what caused the earthquake? Thought that's really cool concept. This idea that Area Zero has more left to offer beyond what we thought, right? There's actually like a hidden city under there, right? Like the Atlantis theories that we've kind of been basing things off of. And then their idea for the second DLC, Vibrant Heights. So it said, future and ancient futuristic Pokemon escape from the deepest depths of Area Zero into not just Paldea, but a neighboring region. You're tasked by the Pokemon League to apprehend it. When you finally arrive in the region, you hear rumors about an organization known as Neoflare just having caught an extremely powerful Pokemon. Explore areas new and old in this familiar region and stop Neoflare's plot. So this obviously is a tie into Kalos, they're theorizing, or kind of like, you know, brainstorming. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I definitely wanted to bring some light to this. And last but not least, this post turned up on you know, PokeLeaks and 4chan a couple days back. I'm gonna say that I don't think it's legit, but it got a lot of traction. We're talking about 630 upvotes in the PokeLeaks subreddit, over 220 comments, a lot of attention on this. Again, before I even tell you anything about it, I don't believe it to be true. But it says that there's going to be 4 DLCs, which would actually turn things on its head, right? It would cut their development cycle for the new game down. It would mean that we would likely not get like a spin-off type game or like a Let's Go Johto or something like that next year. But it says that there's going to be 4 DLCs. The crystalline shell Pokemon is Genji Sudan. It's the ability to bring fantasies to reality. Summer break, so there's no more uniform, but you can still wear it. Like, this is a cool idea that like you're out of school, it's summer break. They're saying that Humid Storm is water and fire, Iron Blade is psychic and grass, that would be the Suicune and the Virizion. Humid Storm summons rain, and Iron Blade summons grassy terrain. So some pretty interesting ideas there. Then they say that there's going to be Giant Gem, which is Sableye. It's kind of like Mega Sableye. It's Rock and Ghost, our first Rock and Ghost. Feral Stripes, Dark and Psychic is a Furret. It's a caveman Furret that becomes Snake-like. Gaseous Newt is a Poison and Dark Salandit. It's a masculine Salandit, but it can pass as an Evo. So they're saying it looks kind of like an evolution of Salandit. Iron Jet, Flying in Steel is a Dustox. It's like a mini combat plane. Imagine Dustox turns into an Iron Jet. That would be sick. Iron Faucet, Water and Ground Heatmore. It basically looks like a water faucet. Iron Cloud, Fairy Electric is Altaria. It's like Mega Altaria, but it's more metallic, and the puffs are various flavors of cotton candy. Interesting. Saying there's more, but I don't have access to them not yet. Not implemented yet. Storyline name is Deeper and Darker. So they're kind of going off of this idea that we're going to be diving deeper into the exploration of Area Zero, which I find interesting, but again, I don't think there's too much credence or validity to this rumor post here, so I wouldn't, you know, take it too far, but it's certainly interesting and definitely worth taking a look at. So that's pretty much everything for the rumor, news, and everything mill for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Again, we're just a few weeks away. It's possible that we get some sort of announcement. There's been whispers that there's going to be a potential Nintendo Direct next week. Wouldn't expect too much Pokemon stuff there, but we did cover Pokemon Sleep the other day, and we've been following these rumors and riddles from the Riddler himself to see what's good. So time will tell on that one. Like the video, subscribe, and check out this one if you want to see some more. I'll see you guys soon.